As the rest of the royal family stood beneath the grey London sky, heads bowed in reverence for fallen heroes, Prince Harry was nowhere near the cenotaph. Instead, under the glittering lights of Beverly Hills, he was raising a glass at one of Hollywood's most exclusive celebrations. But what Meghan did that night, or rather, what she refused to do, has left Harry burning with fury, Britain in disbelief, and royal loyalists around the world stunned into silence. Imagine it. Prince William and Princess Catherine, side by side with King Charles and Queen Camilla, dressed in solemn black, poppies gleaming crimson against the dark fabric. The nation watched a portrait of dignity, of duty, of service. Yet 3,000 miles away, Harry was lost in a different world, champagne in hand, laughter echoing through Kris Jenner's 70th birthday palace of excess, surrounded by the Kardashian empire. The contrast was staggering, and what unfolded inside that glitter-soaked mansion became the spark that ignited a royal firestorm. Sources whisper that Meghan's actions, or her silence, cut deeper than anyone could imagine. Harry, once the soldier prince, now finds himself torn between two worlds. One rooted in sacrifice, the other in spectacle. This wasn't just any weekend. This was Remembrance Weekend, the sacred heartbeat of the British calendar. A day when an entire nation stands still to honor its fallen. Despite everything, the scandals, the exile, the headlines, Harry still pinned his poppy proudly to his jacket. But Meghan? Insiders claim not even a hint of red adorned her designer gown. No flower, no ribbon, not even a subtle nod to the day that defines her husband's entire identity. Royal commentators are calling it an intentional act, a symbolic rejection of everything the monarchy holds dear. To them, it wasn't ignorance. It was defiance. A message written in silence and stitched into couture. Because this isn't just any woman. This is Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, a title she flaunts on every brand deal, every streaming contract, every bottle of wine that carries her name. She wants the crown's gold without the weight of its history. And here's the cruelest irony. Meghan has built her public image as a voice for veterans, standing center stage at the Invictus Games, applauding wounded heroes, smiling beneath the flashbulbs of admiration. Yet on the one day that truly mattered, the day when Remembrance demanded respect, not publicity, she couldn't even lift a finger to pin a simple paper flower to her dress. The hypocrisy is chilling. The disrespect, unforgivable. And according to palace whispers, Harry knows it. He's livid. But here's the cruel twist that makes this entire saga even more tragic. He can't do a single thing to change it. The distance between the two brothers, William and Harry, has never been colder, more painful, or more symbolic than it was this past weekend. While one prince carried the torch of legacy and leadership, the other drowned his regrets in free champagne under neon lights. Let's start with William, the steady hand of the monarchy. The Prince of Wales began his weekend in Brazil, commanding rooms full of world leaders at the COP Environmental Summit. He spoke about saving the planet with a conviction that silenced the room. He didn't just attend, he led. A king-in-waiting who already wears the crown in spirit. Then, duty called him home. London. Remembrance Sunday. William, in full military dress, poppy fixed with precision, gaze solemn and still. He laid the wreath with reverence, an image of strength, tradition, and quiet honor. And Harry? Thousands of miles away, he was clinking glasses at Kris Jenner's 70th birthday bash. The same man who once stood shoulder to shoulder with his brother on palace balconies, now a background guest at a Hollywood circus. A man who once wore his uniform with pride, now lost among influencers and billionaires, trading service for spectacle. Insiders whisper that Harry feels it, the emptiness. They say he leaves these parties hollow, numbing himself with drink the way he once numbed the grief of his mother's loss. One old friend called him the saddest millionaire alive. A man trapped in a gold cage, watching his brother rise while he fades into the noise of a world that doesn't care. That weekend told the story in brutal contrast. William, the embodiment of duty. Harry, the shadow of what he used to be, a prince who surrendered everything for a love that neither understands nor honors what he gave up. Royal analysts now say it bluntly: William is preparing to be king, Harry is preparing to be forgotten. One historian even noted he could have been the beloved spare, the loyal brother who served with grace. Instead, he chose podcasts no one remembers and parties no one respects. And the worst part? Harry knows. Those who served with him in his army days say he watches William's speeches with pride, but also with a regret that eats him alive. He knows he chose wrong. He knows Meghan led him down a road lined with fame and loneliness. Yet he's too proud, too cornered, too controlled to turn back. Now let's talk about the company he keeps. Kris Jenner's birthday wasn't just another Hollywood get-together. It was a declaration of status. A fortress of fame filled with moguls, tech giants, and media powerhouses. But ask yourself, what business does a British prince have here? The guest list read like a museum of excess. Kris, the empire builder. Kim, the billionaire who turned scandal into power. Kylie and Kourtney, marketing machines in heels. Oprah Winfrey, the woman who gave Harry and Meghan their most explosive moment on TV. Martha Stewart, the domestic icon Meghan tries and fails to mimic. Zuckerberg and Priscilla were there, Bill Gates mingled near the bar, and even Justin Bieber wandered through the crowd. Powerful people. Yes, but not Harry's people. And everyone there could feel it. One insider claimed he looked like a man wearing someone else's life, smiling for photos, eyes glassy and lost, rage flickering behind the charm. Because the Kardashian kingdom runs on exposure and drama, the very things Harry was raised to reject. His grandmother's legacy was discretion, restraint, grace. Theirs is profit, chaos, and cameras. Behind the scenes, whispers say he's starting to see it, the hollowness. The realization that these friends don't care about him, only about the novelty of his title. To them, he's a collectible, a headline in a tuxedo. The moment he stops generating clicks, he'll vanish from their guest lists faster than a fading trend. And that's the saddest truth of all. Harry gave up his blood, his brother, his country for this. For fleeting relevance. For Meghan's ambition to climb higher in a world that will never truly accept her as royalty. He traded family for fame, purpose for popularity. And now, while Meghan networks across the room, glass in hand, Harry stands quietly in the background, just another face in the Hollywood crowd. They have more wealth, more fame, more power, and they know it. Sources whisper that while Meghan is desperate to be seen as one of them, the Kardashians see her as what she fears most, a climber clawing her way up the wrong mountain. Which makes Harry's attendance at these events feel like public humiliation wrapped in luxury. He's not even the leading man in his own marriage anymore. Now we reach the breaking point, the moment that has the entire United Kingdom boiling with outrage and Harry privately shattered. The scandal no one saw coming, the poppy incident. At Kris Jenner's glitzy celebration, Harry wore his poppy. That tiny red flower pinned to his lapel wasn't decoration, it was devotion. It represented 2 brutal tours in Afghanistan, the ghosts of fallen comrades, and a thread of duty stretching back a century. In Britain, the poppy is sacred, a silent salute to those who bled for freedom. And Meghan? She wore black. No flower, no gesture, not even a crimson thread as acknowledgement. Just elegance and indifference standing side by side. Her husband, a soldier, a son of a military dynasty, wearing his pride on his chest, while she stood next to him as if the meaning of the day didn't exist. Experts are calling it intentional. Not a slip, not a mistake, a statement. Because Meghan doesn't forget details. She doesn't overlook symbolism. Everything she does is calculated, curated, and controlled. Palace insiders insist she sent a message that night. I don't answer to Britain anymore. I'm not part of your pageantry. I make my own rules. But this goes beyond cultural divide. It's true, Americans don't traditionally wear poppies. They have Veterans Day, their own rituals of remembrance. But Meghan Markle isn't just another American. She is the Duchess of Sussex, a title she uses on every label, every documentary credit, every business venture that profits from royal prestige. And she's married to a man who bled for that poppy. A man who flew Apaches over Afghan dust, who watched brothers in arms fall, who carries their memory in every scar. For Meghan to dismiss Remembrance Weekend isn't just disrespectful to Britain, it's a wound to Harry himself. Even hardened royal commentators are stunned. One veteran journalist put it bluntly, this is her biggest betrayal yet. Bigger than the Oprah ambush. Bigger than the Netflix mockery of the palace. This is a slap in the face to soldiers, to families who mourn, and to Harry's own soul. And Harry? The photos say what words can't. His jaw locked. His smile stiff. Eyes vacant. The expression of a man dying quietly inside, trapped in the glare of flashbulbs beside the woman who just humiliated him before the world. Because in the Sussex household, Meghan reigns supreme. Here's where the hypocrisy burns hottest. Meghan doesn't just ignore military sacrifice, she monetizes it. She has branded herself as the compassionate face of the Invictus Games, the very foundation Harry built to honor wounded warriors. And that makes her puppy snub not just offensive, but orchestrated. For those who don't know, the Invictus Games is Harry's legacy, his triumph born from trauma. A global event giving wounded, injured, and ill-service members a stage to show their courage beyond the battlefield. Men and women missing limbs, carrying scars both seen and unseen, standing proud before the world. Harry poured his heart into it. And Meghan? She turned it into a runway. At every event, she arrives draped in couture worth more than most people's yearly income, waving like a queen, ensuring every lens catches her perfect angles. She delivers speeches about resilience and courage, words that crumble when measured against her own vanity. 2 years ago, at one of the games, she strutted across the venue in a revealing designer dress as cameras flashed and veterans whispered. What was meant to honor sacrifice turned into a fashion spectacle, and insiders said it best, that day wasn't about Invictus. It was about Meghan. There they were, heroes of unimaginable strength, men and women who had faced war, loss, and pain most of us can't even imagine. And there was Meghan posing between them, striking angles for the cameras, basking in the glow of their sacrifice as if it were part of her brand. Look at me. Look how perfect I am. Look how whole. That's the message critics say her presence sends, tone-deaf at best, exploitative at worst. Royal analysts remember it well. She turned wounded soldiers into background props for a fashion shoot. And now, that same performance is repeating itself. Meghan embraces military causes when the spotlight suits her. But when Remembrance calls for quiet honor instead of publicity, she vanishes. No poppy. No gesture. Nothing. The veterans have noticed. Over the weekend, social media erupted with fury from former soldiers and their families. One veteran wrote, "Wearing the poppy isn't much. It's the least we can do." And she couldn't even manage that. Another added, "She expects us to pose for her cameras at Invictus, but she can't show up for us on Remembrance Day." And caught between it all, Harry. The Invictus Games are the one pure thread tying him back to his old world. The one thing he built from purpose, not privilege. And now, that too is tainted. His wife's choice turned his legacy into a controversy. Palace insiders say Harry saw the disaster coming. He begged Meghan to wear the poppy. He knew what the headlines would say. But Meghan refused, cool, certain, immovable. She doesn't take orders, not from him, and certainly not from a nation she's done with. So Harry stood there that night, poppy pinned proudly to his chest, his wife bare beside him. Every flash of a camera felt like a blade. He knew the image would circle the globe, the soldier prince honoring his fallen, the duchess dismissing them. And the look on his face told the story before words could. Tense jaw, empty eyes, a smile that never touched his soul. This wasn't a prince enjoying Hollywood glamour. This was a man haunted by regret, watching his wife turn his values into vanity and powerless to stop it. A source close to one of Harry's old military comrades revealed the truth bluntly. He's horrified. Angry beyond words. He knows how bad it looks. He knows what it says to the veterans who still respect him. He knows his family will never forgive this. But the heartbreak cuts deeper because Harry can't fix it. He has no control anymore. Meghan owns the narrative, the spotlight, the strategy, and, apparently, even the symbolism stitched into their clothes. Harry can't demand, can't direct, can't lead. He's a supporting actor in a story that bears his name. Those who study the Sussex dynamic say it's always been this way. Meghan makes the moves, Harry follows. She wanted out of the palace, he followed. She wanted to spill royal secrets on Oprah, he followed. She wanted Hollywood deals, streaming contracts, rebranding, he signed the dotted line. And when he resists, the insiders say she cuts him down with guilt, reminding him she gave up her world for his, that the monarchy rejected them, not her. So Harry wore his poppy in silence that night, knowing the world would see the difference between them. He felt the weight of a country's judgment pressing on his shoulders, and all he could do was smile through it. Because in that marriage, one truth has never changed. Meghan commands, and Harry obeys. He's no longer her partner. He's her prop, a background figure in the Meghan Markle production. Those who knew Harry in uniform say this isn't the man they remember. The old Harry was fearless, quick-witted, magnetic, the cheeky prince who could make soldiers laugh in the darkest moments. Now, they say he's a ghost. One former friend described him as a mouse, not a man. And the cruelest truth? Harry knows it. He sees what he's become, and he despises it. Let's address the truth no one dares to say aloud. Meghan wants royalty without restraint, the crown without the code. She wants to sip the profit, bask in the prestige, and dodge every ounce of duty. And this poppy scandal? It's her mask slipping in full view. Look at her Netflix credits. Executive producer, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Her wine labels? Produced by the Duchess of Sussex. Every press release from her team echoes the same brand mantra. The Duchess. The Duchess. The Duchess. She clings to that title like it's oxygen because without it, what's left? A forgotten actress from a cancelled cable show. That title is her ticket, her difference between obscurity and influence. It opens doors, fills headlines, and gives her luxury that no Hollywood agent ever could. It's not a title anymore. It's her business model. But there's a fatal contradiction. You can't sell the British crown while scorning what it stands for. You can't parade as Duchess of Sussex and spit on the very traditions that made you one. You can't profit from the monarchy and mock its meaning in the same breath. Historians have been warning this for years. Meghan wants the brand of royalty, not the burden. She craves the admiration of a princess, yet behaves like a celebrity influencer. And the British public? They've run out of patience. She left the monarchy claiming she wanted peace and privacy. Then she waged a global PR war, interviews, documentaries, headlines, deals. She cried for freedom, but built an empire on the royal name. Where is the privacy in multi-million-dollar streaming contracts? Where is the humility in turning your title into merchandise? And now she's selling wine under that same sacred name. Reports claim Meghan personally sent bottles of her luxury brand to Kris Jenner's party, free gifts for billionaires, hoping the cameras would catch the label. It's not elegant. It's not royal. It's desperate. It's the final collapse of dignity into self-promotion. Royal commentators say no true noble behaves this way. You don't pitch products at parties. You don't sell your title like perfume. And you don't disgrace the country that gave it to you. But Meghan sees her duchesshood not as duty, but as property. Something she owns, shapes, markets, and milks for profit. She has forgotten that titles are not bought, they're bestowed. They come with weight, with history, with responsibility. But Meghan's version of royalty has no restraint. She'll wear the crown when it sells, and toss it aside when it burdens. And the British people have finally had enough. She can keep her title. She can keep her cameras. But she can't keep pretending to respect what she's actively tearing down. The message across the nation is deafening. You can't have both, Meghan. You can't wear the crown and mock the kingdom. This poppy scandal wasn't just a misstep, it was the breaking point. From veterans to everyday citizens, from op-ed columns to online forums, the fury has united a divided country. The people who once watched her fairy tale rise are now watching her fall, and this time, even Harry can't save her. The backlash was instant and merciless. Across Britain, hashtags condemning Meghan's behavior flooded every corner of social media. Veterans shared photos of themselves wearing poppies with pride, captioned with quiet fury. It costs nothing, but it means everything. Military families posted stories of lost fathers, sons, husbands who never came home, and asked how Meghan Markle, of all people, could dismiss a symbol of their sacrifice so casually. One post broke the nation's heart. A widow of a soldier who'd fought alongside Harry in Afghanistan wrote, "My husband served beside men like Prince Harry. I can't understand how his wife could disrespect what they fought for." The post exploded online, shared tens of thousands of times, uniting a grieving country in outrage. Radio phone-ins were flooded with emotion. An elderly veteran's trembling voice cracked as he called into a live broadcast, "I fought in the Second World War. I never thought I'd see the day when anyone connected to the royal family would spit on Remembrance Sunday." He spoke of the beaches of Normandy, of friends who never returned, his words breaking as he whispered, "They died for that poppy." Newspapers turned their front pages into fire. One respected commentator wrote that this was Meghan's greatest betrayal yet, worse than the Oprah ambush, worse than mocking the Queen's curtsy, worse than all her self-pity combined. Because this time, she wasn't attacking the institution. She was insulting the dead. Even her former defenders fell silent. A journalist once sympathetic to her cause admitted, "There's no excuse. Meghan knows what the poppy means. She lived here. She married a veteran. Ignorance isn't possible. This was intentional." Veterans charities didn't name her outright, but their statements said everything. They spoke of honor without borders, sacrifice beyond nationality, and respect owed to all who served. Every line was a quiet rebuke aimed straight at Meghan's indifference. And through it all, Buckingham Palace said nothing. No comment. No statement. No confrontation. The royal family did what they've always done, led by example. They wore their poppies, bowed their heads, and let the silence speak louder than words. The British public needed no guidance. Their verdict was already unanimous. But that wasn't the only humiliation of the night. Inside that glittering Beverly Hills ballroom, Meghan faced the one woman she can never become, Martha Stewart. To outsiders, it may seem trivial. But to Meghan, that meeting was brutal reality. Martha Stewart isn't just a celebrity, she's an empire. The architect of American lifestyle. The woman who turned homemaking into an industry, scandal into strength, and her name into gold. And Meghan? She's been trying to copy that formula, but failing spectacularly. Her Netflix show fizzled. Her podcast died in silence. Her lifestyle products barely sold. Her latest creation, water with cinnamon sticks, became a meme, not a movement. Now they stood in the same room. According to guests, Meghan approached Martha with rehearsed charm, all smiles and flattery, hoping for a connection, a photo, maybe even a partnership. But Martha was distant, polite, unreadable. The kind of cool that only true power can afford. Insiders say she saw through Meghan immediately. You can't fake legacy, not to someone who built hers brick by brick, scandal by scandal over decades. And she wasn't the only one keeping her distance. Throughout the night, Meghan worked the crowd, handing out bottles of her branded wine, trying to spark buzz among billionaires. Multiple sources confirmed it. She'd supplied her own bottles for the event, hoping a Kardashian or Oprah might casually post one online. Guests were whispering the new nickname by midnight, Goodie Bag Meghan. Imagine it, in a room filled with people worth billions, Zuckerberg, Gates, Oprah, Chris. Meghan was hustling for Instagram mentions. It wasn't ambition anymore. It was desperation. One attendee summed it up perfectly. She was frantic, shaking hands, posing for photos, selling herself. Hollywood could smell the desperation. Because in that world, everyone knows the game. Favors are currency. Status is fragile. And Meghan's is collapsing. They tolerate her because she brings novelty, a prince. Harry is the access pass. Without him, she's just another wannabe trying to climb a mountain she'll never reach. That's the tragedy of Meghan Markle's Hollywood fairy tale. She thought America would worship her. She thought her Duchess title would make her untouchable. But fame is cruel. It reveals who's authentic and who's performing. Martha Stewart's indifference said what no headline needed to: real credibility can't be borrowed. And the rest of the room agreed. They smiled for her selfies and laughed the moment she turned away. As dawn broke over Los Angeles, the truth was unmistakable. The Poppy scandal wasn't an isolated misstep. It was a mirror reflecting everything broken beneath the Sussex brand: a marriage cracking under control, a man fading into silence, and a woman desperately chasing a spotlight that's already burned out. Those closest to the couple say what everyone now suspects: this isn't a partnership anymore. It's a performance. Meghan writes the script. Harry just reads the lines. Every chapter in their story is written by her hand, and when Harry dares to question the script, she shuts the scene down. The Poppy incident was just another rehearsal in the same tragic play. Harry pleaded for her to wear one she refused, and the man who once led soldiers into battle couldn't even win an argument in his own home. Those still close to his old world say he's finally beginning to see the truth. He watches his brother ascend, respected on the world stage, while he's stranded in California, a stranger among influencers. He sees Catherine's quiet elegance mirrored against Meghan's relentless ambition. And deep down, he knows. He chose wrong. But pride has built his prison walls too high to climb. Now everyone is asking the same question: how much longer can this last? How many more humiliations before the cracks split open? How many more nights can he stand beside her, watching her mock the values he once bled for, before something finally breaks? Analysts say leaving Meghan would be harder than leaving the monarchy itself. She controls everything: the image, the money, the brand. She knows the secrets, and she's proven she'll weaponize them. Harry's cage isn't forged of iron, it's built from shame. And the key? It's in Meghan's pocket. But freedom has its own price. Stay, and his legacy crumbles further: another champagne-soaked evening, surrounded by strangers who see him as a novelty. Another party where he plays the forgotten prince while William prepares for the throne. Another night pretending that the laughter, the mansion, the cameras can fill the void. Britain watches this tragedy with heavy hearts. There's anger at the prince who turned his back on tradition. There's grief for the boy who once stood so proudly beside his brother. And somewhere, beneath all that outrage, a whisper of hope remains that maybe, one day, he'll find his way home. But after this weekend, after the silence, the humiliation, the Poppy that never was, that hope feels like the last light fading from a once golden story. Harry chose love over legacy. Now he's paying the price in full, every single day. The question is, how much more can he take before the crown he threw away comes back to haunt him? Tell us what you think. Is Harry trapped in this royal nightmare, or exactly where he wants to be? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and stay tuned. Because the next revelation we've uncovered will change everything.